Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the athletic fields here at Milford High School, as Milford TV is once again happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. Here on this dreary Tuesday afternoon, it is Tim Coet on the call as we bring you another edition of Lady Hawks varsity soccer. The Lady Hawks matching up against a Davenport division rival here this afternoon in the Canton Lady Bulldogs, two teams that currently reside in second and third place respectively in those Davenport standings. Milford coming in second place, fresh off of back-to-back wins to pull themselves to the 500 mark overall on the season, with the Canton Bulldogs coming in at 1-2-1 overall. Milford at 4 points on the season, with Canton at 3. Both teams right behind the North Attleboro Lady Rocketeers, who lead the Davenport standings with 5 points so far on the season. So a much better looking effort out of the Lady Hawks of late, coming off of those back-to-back victories, scoring 5 combined goals over that 2-game span after being shut out in their first 2 games. So they look to keep the offense going here against the Bulldogs. Milford attacking from right to left across your television screens here in the first half. And right now the toss in coming from the far side. And the kick lofted in on Olivia Marshall, who is able to scoop it up to make the save, and now rolls it out towards the near side where it is picked up by Juliana France. She sends it up towards the midfield. Juliana France with one of the goals that Milford has scored in their last 2 games. Sophomore starting to get the offensive game going again like she was able to do as a freshman last year. Opening 2 minutes of play here in the first half. Expecting the remnants of Hurricane Jose to hit the Massachusetts area over the next 24 hours or so. Right now we are, for the most part, rain-free. There's been some light mist here in the area throughout the day, but nothing heavy. The heavier stuff might roll in the later evening hours, so hoping that it's just some light rain and some breezy conditions down at field level. Nothing worse than that developing, at least over the course of this girls' game. The boys do take the field later on this evening. Canton carrying play in their attacking side through these early minutes. As Milford tries to break it up. Ashley Starks there defensively for Milford. And the ball once again ends up out of play on the far side. When last we covered this Lady Hawks soccer team, they were taking on the Franklin Panthers in a Hockomock League crossover matchup back on September 11th, and ended up being a frustrating 1-0 loss for Milford. They had an opportunity to score what would have been the tying goal in the final 4 minutes off a free kick from Madeline Boyle. The ball glanced off the crossbar. Franklin standout goalie Kat Robbins able to make the save, and Milford couldn't get the rebound chance in. Here the corner kick coming from the far side for Canton, and it redirects into the net. And quickly, the goal is scored to give the Lady Bulldogs a 1-0 lead. That one headed in. So the corner kick proves to be the jumping off point for Canton, sending it right into the center of the goal mouth area, and Canton right there to direct it in past Marshall to get this scoring started. Canton's been putting up good offense through the early part of the season. They scored 3 goals in a draw against North Attleboro back on September 15th. That was their most recent game. And right back down on the attack now for the Bulldogs, and Milford ends up sending it off and out of play. And so Canton will set up for their second corner kick, again coming in from that far side, as it looks to be Riley Duceric, the very talented senior for Canton, setting up for that corner. And this one will clank off the top left corner of the net and out. So not able to capitalize that time. Canton carrying the early momentum. This game getting underway maybe about 10 minutes ahead of the original scheduled start time. Scheduled for a 4:30 opening kick. This one going again a little bit ahead of schedule, probably with the deteriorating weather conditions in mind. Knowing you have another soccer match coming up after this one with the two varsity boys teams from these two schools taking the field. Back to the Milford defense where Rachel LeBlanc heads it down, but Canton keeps it moving. Milford trying for the clear. They get it back out to center, but it's pushed back down. Now by number 24, Sarah Collins, a junior for Canton. And eventually ends up out of play, last touched by the Lady Bulldogs. One victory on the season so far for Canton. That came in their opening day effort against Attleboro on the road. 4 games played so far for Canton. They only have 1 win to show for it. However, they have had 3 games in which they've scored multiple goals. 2 in that win over Attleboro, 3 in a 5-3 loss to Mansfield. And then 3 goals scored in that draw against North Attleboro back at the end of last week. This is a Canton team that did make it into the playoffs, surprised a lot of people last year, finished in 2nd place in the Davenport standings, ended up advancing all the way to their district semifinals. A couple of playoff victories along the way, so looking to build on that. Head coach for Canton, Kate Howarth, doing a very good job with this program. On the Milford side, Coach Maste for the Lady Hawks, looking to get his team back into the playoffs after missing out last year. Some confidence growing amongst this Milford squad after back-to-back victories. But having to overcome an early deficit in this one with the goal scored off the corner kick by Canton just about 4 minutes in. And now Maggie Boyle able to take it up the field, a long leading pass trying to hit Leanne Kibbe. A little too far out in front was Kibbe. Still 32 minutes and change left to go in this opening half of play. A kick sent downfield by Sarah Connolly of Canton. Now to the near sideline. Milford the clear out to center, now settled down by Kendra Farrelly. Ashley Starks races in to try to break it up, also in support Kibbe. Can sends the pass across the field. Now some good crisp passing, but the ball sent down into the corner too far out ahead of Kirsten Hansen. A lot of good things on offense displayed by this Canton squad early. Milford trying to adjust. We've not seen a shot on net on the Milford side yet. This ball drifting loose at the midfield. Carly Hutchinson, the senior for Canton, comes up to play it. Moved on the far sideline, past a couple of Milford defenders. That shot into the box broken up by LeBlanc. Now to the near sideline. It's France up ahead for Hannah Martin, but Canton able to get the clear. This one will travel down toward the near corner. And LeBlanc ends up having to send it out of play. Yes. Eliza Delezia, a freshman on this varsity squad for Canton, came racing in. Delezia does have a goal scored to her credit on the Canton side. Ended up scoring one of the goals as part of that opening day victory against Attleboro. Just under 30 minutes to go in the half now. Milford just trying to find a way to get settled on their attacking side. Look at the toss in from the far side. That one rattling off Kibbe. It might have hit her in the hands. And now the whistle going against the Lady Hawks. For Milford, this is just their second home game of the season. That game against Franklin last week got their home schedule started. They've had away games against King Philip, Taunton, and Stoughton. They're 2-1 on the road. As Olivia Marshall makes the save, the applause from the hardy Milford fans who have shown up here despite the light rain and cooler temperatures. Certainly much different than the weather throughout the fall sports schedule for last week, where it was nothing but bright sunshine and 80-degree temperatures. Here's Kibbe on the move, trying to get position, sends the shot away. It's just to the right of the net. Keeper for Canton sprawling out to try to make the save. It was just beyond her reach, but fortunately for the Lady Bulldogs, that one drifted to the right of the net. But Kibbe using her speed to make something happen for Milford. Keeper must have gotten the fingertips on that ball as it passed by, as Milford sets up from the corner. Chance to tie things up as Madeline Boyle will take the kick. You can see the breeze blowing in toward the Canton net as this ball dies right at the feet of Maggie Boyle. Now out for Rachel LeBlanc. She'll send it towards net, but that one to the left and out of play. So the goal kick now for Canton. A couple of corner kick chances for Canton early, now one for Milford. But still a 1-0 score with 27:32 to go in the half. LeBlanc again jumps into the play off the goal kick. But Canton maintains control. Now tries to get numbers up the field. Milford adjusts. And now Ashley Starks able to gain body position, but the ball ends up going out of play. Goal scorers so far on the season for Milford. One for Madeline Boyle, a couple of goals scored for Hannah Martin. She has goals scored in each of the last two wins for Milford over their last two matches. Juliana France and Cassie Probert also with goals scored. 5 goals scored, and now 8 goals allowed overall on the season, with the early goal for Canton here in this match, as Milford plays it up the far sideline, but that will drift out away from the reach of Leanne Kibbe. 26:24 on the game clock. Goal scored about 4.5 minutes in for Canton to take the early lead. It's been the Lady Bulldogs carrying play for the most part here. Lights coming on here at the Milford field. Fans continuing to file in, trying to find some dry territory on the bleachers. As Milford gets the partial clear, Canton keeps it on the attacking side. Now played up ahead by Sienna Pierce, the junior for Milford, but then right back down into the corner. Canton trying to get there first, they do. A good job keeping that ball in play. Now trying to find some space. A very good effort out of Riley Duceric again. One of the stars on this Canton team as they get the shot and the score. And it's a 2-0 lead now for the Lady Bulldogs. Keeping that play alive in the corner, that was the key. And it looked to be the freshman, Eliza Delezia, who ultimately put it in. Got to that ball in the corner, keeping it in play, then got it to Duceric, who then sent it right back to the freshman who finished the chance. And Canton now with the 2-0 score. Timeout called on the field. Just over 24 minutes remaining in this first half. It's now a 2-0 lead for Canton over Milford on this coverage of Milford High School girls soccer on Milford TV. So the freshman doubling the lead for the Canton Lady Bulldogs, Eliza Delezia, as I try to get that pronunciation correct, my apologies. But the underclassmen now with a couple of goals scored on this early part of the season for Canton. They have a lot of youth on their team. And a lot of those underclassmen playing key roles. 3 freshmen on the varsity roster and a good group of sophomores as well. Now Leanne Kibbe trying for the response. Could not quite spring free from her defender. And it ended up resulting in an easy save. Now the toss back in, quickly intercepted by Starks. But Canton wins it right back. 21-49, the game clock reads here as we get towards the midway point of the first half. Milford now with a 2-goal deficit to try to overcome. And they have not seen much time on their attacking side of the field at all. They had the corner kick opportunity a little bit earlier in the half, and then that chance moments ago by Leanne Kibbe. That is about all. The corner kick did not result in a shot on net. Ball ricocheting back towards the midfield. Trying to settle it down was Annie Flanagan. And down to the turf now goes Kendra Farrelly on the Canton side. Kick now for Connolly. Ends up getting past Pierce. And now the centering pass attempt is deflected by Milford. Able to get it out of the box, but they can't quite get the clear, and now Milford able to send it past midfield. So good work defensively that time by Milford, as it looked like Canton was primed for another shot on goal. Brianna Braza is able to make the good defensive play to get the clear. Back again to Braza. This ball deflects, but a little bit too far out in front for Olivia Sullivan. And again, the keeper for the Lady Bulldogs able to take care of business. Starks now leaving it for Juliana France, tries to split a double team, is able to move it along the sideline. Sarah Connolly eventually able to get the pass back under control for Canton. Jumping into the play, Sienna Pierce. Up ahead now again for Kibbe. She's got a passing partner up the middle. Instead tries to get the shot on goal, could not quite get the angle, and now a little bit slow to get up. Kibbe had options with Olivia Sullivan streaking up on net. Ultimately tried to bend that one just inside that right post, but the save made, and now another corner kick for the Lady Hawks, trying to get on the scoreboard, down 2-0. High arcing kick this time. The header is in, and Milford is on the board. Off the corner kick by Madeline Boyle, Juliana France able to head it into the upper left corner, and it's a 2-1 game. So both teams now with goals off of corner kicks. Milford with some positive momentum now. So it was Kibbe, again, that proved to be the spark plug. Taking the shot on goal, ending up leading to the corner kick, and Madeline Boyle with the kick and the redirect from Juliana France to make it a 2-1 score, with 17 minutes and 20 seconds left on the first half game clock. We'll see if this starts to give Milford a little bit of a momentum boost. Good hard physical play. Once again, it's Cassie Probert battling along with Liana Brun for Canton. Brun now with the toss in. You can feel some new energy out there on the field now for Milford. They were really back on their heels after falling behind by a pair of goals, but now starting to see a little bit more spring in the step. Coming down to 16.5 minutes to play in the first half. Boyle up the middle, takes a good Milford bounce. Starks trying to settle it, but it ends up on the foot of Duceric. Now all the way to the far sideline and out. We'll see a substitution on the Milford side. Hannah Martin getting a brief rest. She'll come back out onto the field. She'll replace Leanne Kibbe. Again, it ended up being Juliana France who netted the goal, but Kibbe gave Milford that scoring opportunity. And now a good pass up ahead. Here's Boyle trying to beat the keeper, and it's in! A great pass up the middle for Milford, right on target to Maggie Boyle, and the captain does the rest. And 2 quick goals for Milford ties this game up. All kinds of space for Maggie Boyle. Took her time. Ended up burying that shot. And Milford now has all the momentum on their side as they send this one down into the corner. Juliana France getting down into the area, forcing Canton to send it out. Toss in comes to Starks. Tries to center up the pass. It deflects, but right to Canton. They're able to get the clear back out towards the midfield. Now it's Rachel LeBlanc, the captain. A booming shot, and that one just off the crossbar and out. And all of a sudden, everything going Milford's way. Sending that shot in from long range, but it was just high. Two to two with 14 and change left on this first half clock. Both of these teams into it now. LeBlanc couldn't quite settle that one, but Maggie Boyle calmly sends it back to her defense. Probert just unable to get to that ball cleanly. It's LeBlanc again trying to find Maggie Boyle. Starks takes some hard contact, keeps her feet. As always, good toughness from Ashley Starks. And that pass taking a hard ricochet, didn't quite get over to Cassie Probert, ended up out of play. So it's Canton now looking for the response, seeing an early 2-goal lead disintegrate. Play it into the corner. Now the pass into the box. Ashley Starks sending that one towards the near sidelines. Milford trying to maintain good position. Sienna Pierce. And the whistle ends up going against the Lady Bulldogs, giving Madeline Boyle a chance to make this kick. And Leanne Kibbe ready to check right back into this game at the next whistle. Canton to the midfield, soft pass. Probert and LeBlanc closing in. Canton regroups back to their defensive line now. Ball ends up ahead into the box, and Olivia Marshall scoops it up. Now Starks past one defender, threading a pass up the near side. But nobody there but a couple of Canton defenders. Now Connolly with the pass across the length of the field, finding Sarah Collins. An entertaining first half of play between these two girls varsity soccer programs. As Milford plays it back to the keeper, a dangerous pass from Marshall, but LeBlanc able to handle it. Now Barraza having a tough time handling that ball. Canton back on the move. Starks comes in to deflect. Now Maggie Boyle jumping into the play. And that hits off the foot of Leanna Brun for Canton and out. Substitutions again for Coach Mastay with a little over 10 minutes to go in the first half. Kibbe closing in. Anna Martin also in the area, but Canton able to advance. Aggressively played there by Canton on the far side. That was number 24, Sarah Collins. Kibbe now loses her feet. Slick conditions out there with the off and on rain today. Toss in for Milford coming with under 10 minutes to go on the game clock. Tied score, a lot of up and down action now. And trying to find Kibbe, but that ball just a little bit too quick. So Milford now with 2 goals so far in this game. Multiple goals now in each of their last 3 matches after being shut out in their first 2 games. So allowing 5 goals while scoring none in the first 2 games, but since then they've now scored 7 goals and allowed 4 over their last 3 matches, but of course still a long way to go in this one. Not much time left in the first half, however, as we tick down to 8.5 minutes on the game clock. Two football teams from these schools will meet up at Canton High School at the end of this week, with the Milford football team still in search of their first win. They're suffering a tough loss here in Milford to Franklin last Friday night. You can catch the full coverage of that game on our Milford TV educational channel and also on YouTube. Same can be said for all of our coverage of this 2017-18 fall sports season. Canton now blasts that one out. I'll say it was off of Milford. This time, the Lady Bulldogs sending it out. Milford struggling to get organized there. Eventually they send the toss in. It's headed back out of play by Brune. Now Boyle lobs it, looking for Hannah Martin. And Maggie Boyle trying to send it on for Kibbe. They'll call it offsides. The Milford fans hating the call. You have to like the energy and effort on the offensive side for Milford as this half has gone on. A lot of positives for Coach Mastey to go over with the team when we hit halftime. Will we see another goal before then? We've already seen 4 total goals scored, 2 aside, as the wind starts to pick up. Substitutions coming in on both sides as we tick down to 6 minutes left in the half. The situation we talked about in the match against Franklin that will continue to be, no doubt, a factor in each of Milford's matches this season is the discrepancy in bench size for the Lady Hawks versus their other Hockomock League opponents. See the considerable bench on the Canton side. Much smaller roster size on the Milford side, as another corner kick opportunity rears its head for Canton. The ball still deflecting in front of the goal. It glanced off of the left post and eventually out for a goal kick for Milford. So danger averted that time for the Lady Hawks, as that ball took a couple of high bounces. But Canton couldn't settle it down for the redirect chance on net, so we stay at 2 goals aside. Guiding this one back to their keeper. Blasted on towards the midfield, but headed back into the attacking side by Juliana France. She'll have a chance to jump right back into the play. Now this one played ahead by Christina Shirelli. Couldn't quite get the angle she wanted, and that ball ends up out to the right of the Canton net. With now under 3 minutes to go in the first half, Maggie Boyle, one of the goal scorers for Milford in this half, checked out for a rest, now ready to come back in, but Canton with a full head of steam on towards the net. As it looked like we were possibly going to see another scoring opportunity for the freshman, Delatizia. But she let that one roll out too far in front, giving Marshall a chance to play it. But Canton now right back down. Here comes the freshman again. But again, it's Marshall there first. What an impressive first half performance for Eliza Delatizia. A real offensive force. About 3 minutes left to go. Trying to take it back up through the midfield. The pass making its way to Lauren McCabe. Now ahead to Delatizia. Her shot glances off of the football uprights. Goes up over the goal and out of play. Those uprights still rocking, with an assist also from the wind that continues to pick up down at field level.
I'll come up here.
Canton trying one last push for a go-ahead goal here late. They've started to pick up the intensity offensively towards the end of this half. Milford blasts it out. Olivia Sullivan sending that one right to the feet of the Canton bench players, as we are now under 2 minutes on the game clock, so we wait for the final whistle of the half. Milford 2 and Canton 2. Kick coming up for the Lady Bulldogs. Hard kick, and Delatizia was there, but so was Marshall. Marshall was able to get a piece of it to deflect it out of the box, but Canton refusing the clear. France using the body to send that one out of play. Canton with a quick toss in. Electing to keep that one, Julia Oliveira. Stays Milford ball as Madeline Boyle communicates with her teammates before tossing that one in. Canton losing control, but Maggie Boyle couldn't recover it. Final moments of this first half unfolding. Both sides struggling to keep it in along this near sideline. Aggressively playing, trying to win that ball. 3 players converge. Back down now into the far corner. Annie Flanagan racing for it. Result the toss in deep for Canton. To get it into Lauren McCabe. Drifts back out. Maggie Boyle closes in. Now LeBlanc with a good pass. Ends up to Leanne Kibbe. Now it's Boyle sending it up ahead, but too far out in front of either Kibbe or Olivia Sullivan. corner. Julia Oliveira able to get to it first. To be a little bit of shoving after the play. Both teams battling hard through this first half. Juliana France heading that goal kick down. Now France sending it ahead to the corner. Down to the last seconds. Could see one last potential scoring chance for Milford here. Kibbe tries to center it. That ball out off of Canton. Back out as far as Madeline Boyle. Now she loops a pass back in. France with one last shot. It was deflected, and that is the last play of the half. So Milford with a chance there possibly to send the go-ahead goal in, but the shot deflected off the foot of France, and that is it for the first half. But again, very good play displayed on both sides through this first half. A couple of goals early for Canton, including one scored by the freshman Eliza Delatizia, but Milford able to respond. Goals by Juliana France and Maggie Boyle to tie this game up 2-2 as we head into the intermission. We'll be back with second half action when we return next on this coverage of Milford High School girls soccer on Milford TV. And back here in Milford for second half action in this varsity girls soccer matchup between the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks and the Canton Lady Bulldogs. Milford now attacking from left to right across your television screens here for second half action. Tim Coet with you on the call. Mike Sperling also here on the coverage as the weather conditions continue to get worse as the late afternoon turns into evening. The lights have been on for the majority of this match, just past 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You can see a thick mist now coming down over the field. The breeze has been picking up. So tough conditions for these two teams to fight through as they play on tied at 2 goals apiece. This ball will stay with Milford as Boyle tosses it back in. And now deflected out again, as we mentioned just prior to the half. And if you're just joining us, Juliana France and Maggie Boyle with the goal scored on the Milford side after Milford trailed this game 2-0 early. And this ball rolling free and an easy opportunity for Juliana France. And she's able to net it for the go-ahead goal, and Milford takes the lead. Not quite 2 minutes into the second half action. Juliana France with her second goal of the game. That one ended up rolling right across the goal mouth, got right to Juliana France with no one in front of her. And about the easiest goal the sophomore will score this season. So from a 2-0 deficit, Milford now with 3 unanswered goals. That's the second game in a row for Milford they've been able to score 3 times. So 8 goals now in their last 3 matches as this Milford offense really starts to find its groove. So with 2 goals here today, Juliana France now with 3 overall on the season. And so that puts her now in the lead on the team in that category. Hannah Martin right behind with 2. As the kick comes on to the left of the Milford net. Off the foot of Riley Duceric as Canton tries to respond. "15 minutes into this game, it looked like it had the potential to be a one-sided affair in Canton's favor. But Milford has really flipped the script. And as you take a look at the matchups in previous seasons between these 2 teams, it's a matchup that has favored Canton more often than not. Going back to 2015, I'll have more on that in a moment as Leanne Kibbe tried to settle that ball down in time for a shot on net, but Canton able to deflect it away. The only victory Milford has in the previous 2 seasons against Canton came back on October 19th of 2016, where Milford erupted for 6 goals in a 6-3 victory here at Milford High School. But Canton overall 3-1 in the last 4 meetings between these 2 teams. A 1-0 victory for Canton back on September 24th of last year, and then Canton sweeping the season series in 2015, a 2-1 victory at Canton and a 4-0 victory here at Milford. But the Lady Hawks trying to put another victory in their column here this afternoon. Still a long way to go. Over 35 minutes still on the clock for the second half, but a 3-2 lead for the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks. Sending the pass across the way, trying to find Julia Hamilton. Ball ends up towards net, but handled by Olivia Marshall. Delatizia, the freshman, with that pass across the way to Hamilton. Canton couldn't do anything with it. Now this ball taking a good Milford roll, but Carly Hutchinson, the senior defense there for the Lady Bulldogs. Toss in by Christina Shirelli. Call goes against the Lady Hawks. The kick set up for Canton, a short one for Sarah Connolly. And up the field now, Leanna Brune. Milford intercepts. Maggie Boyle couldn't settle it. Now back to midfield where it's played on by Canton, right to Rachel LeBlanc. Now Ashley Starks has it glance off of her foot, but able to send it down towards the corner. Here's Leanne Kibbe to the far sideline. Canton able to pluck it away. And it deflects out off of Milford. Again, those Davenport Division standings for you. North Attleboro, Milford, and Canton not separated by very much atop those standings. North Attleboro at 2-1-1. Milford at 2-2-0. And Canton at 1-2-0. Foxborough in fourth place at 1-3-0. And Sharon and Stoughton both looking for their first victories of the season. Both teams come into play today at 0-4. As we have a player shaken up on the Canton side after some hard contact over the middle. Play travels all the way down into the corner. Rachel LeBlanc sends it out of play, and they will call for the trainer, and we will pause for the injury timeout. It is Kendra Farrelly, the senior for Canton, looks to have suffered an ankle injury. 32 minutes and change left in the second half. 3-2 Milford. And we'll be back with more next here on Milford TV. So back after the injury timeout, and a corner kick opportunity for Canton that glances off the top of the net, stays in play, and now will roll the length of the field and be eventually sent out. Milford takes over. So it was Kendra Farrelly, the senior, who was able to make her way off the field, but looks to be in some pain, as she is attended to by the Milford training staff. Looks like they're checking out the left ankle. As Milford now uses their speed to try to close in. As Christina Shirelli is trying to make the move. And now a little bit animated with her teammates as that pass came in a little bit offline. Now Shirelli blocking that pass as the ball comes in right over by the training staff. .31:52 on the second half clock. As Milford scored the final 2 goals of the first half. They've scored the first goal here in the second half. Owners of a 3-2 lead. Our first 2 soccer matchups that we covered this season, one on the boys' side, one on the girls' side, each ended in 1-0 finals. So a shootout by comparison here this afternoon. Tossed back in by Canton, and now Madeline Boyle trying to clear it, but instead sends it off towards the Canton bench. Canton from the near sideline. Hannah Martin gets to it. Now Starks shoots it up the sideline. Deflects out off of Canton. Ping-ponging back and forth across midfield. Rachel LeBlanc. Boyle a foot on it, trying to guide it towards Juliana France, who has 2 goals, looking for the hat trick now as the second half continues. Starks over the middle. Blasted ahead. Kibbe was there, but the ball did not make it past the Canton defense. Under 30 minutes now to go in the second half. Still a lot of time left for both of these teams. France up ahead for Martin. And Martin again with Kibbe starting to pick up speed. But the pass ahead deflected. Canton regroup as this second half goes on. Playing so confidently through the early part of that first half, but Milford is able to make their run, and we have not seen the counter from the Lady Bulldogs yet. Shirelli again gets bumped off the ball by number 33, Olivia Rodman. Rodman had a couple of assists in one of Canton's most recent games in that 3-3 draw against North Attleboro. Rodman is another freshman to make this varsity team. So two teams with a lot of youth. Think back, all the freshmen that played meaningful minutes for Milford last year, now sophomores. So both of these teams young but talented. Canton getting that ball in good position. Sent in by Duceric, but a little bit offline. Goal kick coming up for the Lady Hawks with 27:45 on the second half game clock. Canton finished last season at 10-8-2. Second straight year they finished in second place in the Hockomock League's Davenport Division standings. This pass too far out in front for Kibbe. They only lost 3 seniors from that second place team from last year, a team again that advanced all the way to the Division II South semifinal. Had victories over Greater New Bedford and Milton in those D2 South playoffs last year. Guided on towards net for Milford by Olivia Sullivan, but offline to the left. And Canton calling for the timeout here. Timeout comes with 26.5 minutes to go in this second half. A 3-2 lead for Milford. We'll pause for the timeout as well. Back with more next here on Milford TV. A little over 26 minutes remain in this second half. The Davenport Division showdown between Milford and Canton in girls soccer. It was all Canton early. It's been all Milford since, and a 3-2 score as Milford hopes to claim their third consecutive victory to put themselves over 500. Canton hoping to avoid a third loss in the early part of their schedule. They have had a very challenging schedule so far. After that opening day victory against Attleboro, they've had to play Mansfield, King Philip, and also North Attleboro. King Philip already at 4-0 overall on the season. And as Milford found out with a loss against the Lady Warriors by a score of 4-0 earlier this season, that Lady Warriors team looks to be one of the class programs in the state for girls soccer this year. Milford trying to settle it down. Kibbe upset with herself after she released that shot high and offline. But just to finish up the point about King Philip, 4-0 on the season. They have outscored opponents by a margin of 24-7, already 24 goals on the season, which by far and away leads the scoring in the Hockomock League. Mansfield, the second highest goals for total on the season. They do have 20. And Mansfield only allowing 4 goals to their opponents so far. So those two programs, King Philip and Mansfield, very dangerous. Canton sends it back upfield with close to 24 minutes remaining. Pace of this second half slowing a bit with that timeout call. Milford now trying to get it back to their attacking side, but the ball ends up out of play. Looks like the varsity boys teams are starting to file in here, waiting for their contest later on in the evening. So additional support in the stands for both of these girls teams battling hard. Pierce trying to play it ahead. Now it's Annie Flanagan. That one gets a good bounce, but Milford called for the offsides, and Coach Mastay cannot believe it. Players on the field frustrated, but no one more frustrated than the head coach of the Lady Scarlet Hawks with that call. Another potential scoring opportunity for Milford negated with the whistle. Now up ahead from Flanagan. Out to midfield where Canton is able to push it forward, but Rachel LeBlanc, the captain, there again. Now it's Starks. Could not get it past Sarah Connolly on defense for the Lady Bulldogs, and now sending it back up ahead is Sarah Collins. And this one, Milford ball, Canton finally getting the memo. (21:51). And this one will slide out back towards the Canton bench. This time the visitors do get the toss in. Starks just could not save that one. Good effort though once again. Braza now with good tight defense, forcing Canton to regroup. Now it's Juliana France guarding close on the far sideline. Maggie Boyle into the play. And now Starks sends it down. Olivia Sullivan trying to get there, and the keeper able to come out to deflect it away just in the nick of time. Another half step and Sullivan would have been there with the shot attempt. Right now Canton trying to get things situated with their substitutions now. They have things the way they want. That toss and look to go Madeline Boyle to Maggie Boyle, but it was broken up and now sent back out of play. To continue to put into perspective how strong the offensive game has been for that King Philip team so far this season, as we take a look at the scoring leaders for the Hockomock League in girls soccer. Chloe Lane for King Philip with 8 goals on the season. Avery Sneed also with 8 goals, so 2 players combining for 16 of the 24 goals scored by that Lady Warriors offense. Allie Filipkowski for Sharon, also with good goals scored numbers so far on the season with 9. But Chloe Lane, the overall points leader for girls soccer. 8 goals, 4 assists for a total of 12 points. This one rolling loose towards the goal mouth, but Milford able to clear it out of danger. Madeline Boyle came into this week's action in the top 10 in points with 4. These Milford fans trying to re-energize this Lady Hawks team. Still 18.5 minutes to go with just a 1-goal lead. Another toss in, Madeline Boyle able to get the partial clear. And now LeBlanc back out, and now momentarily misplayed by Sarah Connolly. She had to regroup. But now this one rolling loose on the near side, and a narrow miss there as Olivia Rodman, the freshman, sent that one back in towards net. Milford able to deflect it over to the far corner and now back out toward midfield. It's the best look on net Canton has had since the first half. Still over 17 minutes left. These Milford fans starting to feel a little bit anxious as Canton tries for a late surge. Maggie Boyle up the near sideline. Sullivan there to meet it. Good speed, and now Canton has to send it out of play. Sarah Connolly sending it beyond the near sideline. It'll be tossed in by Shirelli with 16.5 minutes left to go. Narrowly missing Hannah Martin. It'll roll towards the keeper for Canton, who will scoop it. And another costly whistle going against Milford, and Coach Mastay trying to keep his cool on the sidelines, but he has been more than a little bit frustrated with some of the whistles that has gone against his team throughout this afternoon. Now Starks sending that pass, looking for Martin, but again, too much lead room. Again, trying to push forward. Once again, Rachel LeBlanc getting better position. And Kibbe now in a foot race. Some contact there between Kibbe and Sarah Connolly. Kibbe using the shoulder to try to gain body position, no whistle. Now Shirelli can't track that one down as it crosses out of play. .45 on the game clock. Hannah Martin, she can't quite settle. This time the whistle going in Milford's favor, and the fans appreciative. A little extra contact from Canton draws the whistle. Now Madeline Boyle with the hard boot. Ends up right at Sarah Collins, the junior for Canton. Shirelli tosses it back in over the reach of Martin. Now Maggie Boyle nearly directing that one to Starks. Canton now back to the far sideline and up the field. And out of play with 13.5 minutes to go. Juliana France working on that 2-goal game, has been resting on the sideline. She now prepares to check back in. Shirelli able to stop the progress of that ball, but then couldn't find it. It allowed Canton to recover and Sarah Collins to send it down deep. And the shot towards net, but corralled by Marshall. Good Milford bounce on that kick from Marshall.
Oh, nice try.
But the header a little bit too hard. Played by the Canton keeper. Starks wins it initially, but Canton keeps control.
Header. Use your head.
Here's Martin. And out in front of the Milford bench with 12:10 to go. A goal for Milford. About 2.5 minutes into the second half, giving them the lead. Now here's Martin lofting that one and just misses wide to the left.
Nice job, White. Keep it up.
Trying to hook it in, but stayed to the outside of that left post. Now Starks will send this one well wide to the left of the net. And another goal kick coming up. Substitutions coming in on the Canton side. Crowd trying to give Milford some extra energy here in the late minutes. Milford playing it calmly forward. Boyle to Martin, trying to find Kibbe. Took a tricky bounce there late. Kibbe couldn't keep the forward progress going. And now some nice quick passing through the midfield on the Canton side, but again, the late deflection sends it out on the far sideline. Quickly approaching 10 minutes left to play, with Milford holding on to that 1-goal lead.
Nice job.
A couple of times Milford trying to find Hannah Martin deep on the attacking side. Canton gets the clear, now up ahead for the shot on net. And that one deflects in off the right post. And Canton, with a quick momentum shift there, is able to tie the score. Milford had it deep, but the ball going the length of the field, and a quick opportunity results in the game-tying score with under 10 minutes to play. So Milford with the lead since early in this half, but they relinquished the game-tying goal here, and now just 9 minutes left for these two teams to work with. Shirelli's pass deflects off of Canton and out. Another toss in, this time by Braza. Maggie Boyle up ahead. France tries to save it. Now the shot from Kibbe, and the save is made. Juliana France, with her speed, was able to save that ball from going out of play, then sent the pass backwards to Kibbe. But her shot on net was denied. Milford 3 and Canton 3. France again off the deflection, up ahead, but could not quite find Kibbe. Play up the far sideline, but the whistle with less than 7.5 minutes on the game clock. Now up ahead where Braza has to play it. She can't get the clear. Kibbe couldn't quite keep that one in play. Back and forth with Sarah Connolly of Canton. Milford tosses it back in play. And now the whistle goes against the Lady Hawks. As we approach 6 minutes left. Up in front, waiting for it, Madeline Boyle. Can't quite clear it. Now to the near sideline, Canton. Sarah Collins losing her balance. It gave Milford the chance to intercept. Now Canton a little bit too antsy, brought back for the toss-in. Starks able to clear it downfield. With Kibbe bearing down, Connolly had to play it out. Now Kibbe, the hard deflection goes off of Juliana Agniti. And that one out over the goal line off of Canton, and this will set up a crucial corner kick for Milford with less than 5 minutes to play. Again, it's Madeline Boyle who sets up for it on the near side.
Go, go!
Hard line drive kick. And Juliana France trying for the header in. Ball ends up deflecting back out towards center, and now the whistle goes against Milford, so the opportunity goes by the boards. Cut it out high that time to Juliana France, but her header deflected away from the net. Game clock reads 3 minutes and 52 seconds to go. Game that initially looked like it was in Canton's hands, then Milford stormed back, took the second half lead, took that lead deep into this half. Looked like an opportunity for Milford to grab another win, but Canton stealing momentum back to tie it, and now we'll see if either of these sides have a goal left in them to try to steal the win. Canton plays it in deep, but Milford will get there. Madeline Boyle a little slow to get back to her feet after that play, but she stays out there. Olivia Sullivan eventually getting bumped off the ball. That whistle was initially going against Canton, but then ended up going in the Lady Bulldogs' favor. But Milford able to clear it back out as far as center. Olivia Sullivan then jumping into the play. Canton streaking back up the near sideline. The centering pass just offline, rolling through the box into the far sideline and eventually out of play. So similar to the play that tied the game, developing rapidly upfield for Canton. You can see Coach Mastay giving the signal from the sideline, trying to get his team to settle down, stay smart for these final minutes. This one played on, and again, just offsides is the call from the officials.
She was behind her when the ball kicked. When the ball's kicked, not when the ball's over her head.
We're now under 2 minutes.
That's the key.
It's the third
Nice job, Ash. Way to hustle.
disappointing offsides call from the Milford perspective. All three of them a little bit questionable. Hear the chatter from the Milford fans. Feeling like that one was another bad call against Milford. Now the Canton fans unhappy with the whistle as Milford sets up for this kick with time winding down. Back up the middle for Canton. Now Braza, soft pass. Getting to it was Sienna Pierce. Now bodies collide as the ball goes out of play. Milford wastes no time with the toss in. Now that one out off of Milford. Sense of urgency now on both sides with just moments left. And now offsides the call again. Another close one. As that time it was against the freshman Olivia Rodman, who looked like she might be in position for a late go-ahead goal. Now Canton sending it ahead. Will it stay in play? It drifts out. Just before Rodman could get there. Quick substitution brings Hannah Martin back out onto the field. Now winning that ball is Delatizia, the freshman. Starks in defensively, players collide. Kick for Duceric. Another pivotal moment as we are under the 2-minute mark, waiting on that final whistle from the field. Duceric blasts it in, and just beyond the reach of Sarah Collins. She was trying for the header in for the go-ahead goal, but couldn't get position, and now the goal kick for Milford. Clogged up in the midfield, and that will end it. So when all is said and done, these two teams play to the draw, 3-3. So Milford, despite holding that 3-2 lead for the majority of the second half, Canton able to grab the point thanks to the late goal scored. That ball ricocheting in off the right post, getting past Marshall. The third goal on the Canton side, and so again, we end this one with a 3-3 tie. Good day offensively for Milford, especially for Juliana France with a 2-goal scored. Maggie Boyle with a goal as well, as Milford improves now to 2-2-1 on the season. And with the draw, Canton ends up at 1-2-2. So that will wrap up the coverage for today. For Mike Sperling, I am Tim Coet. A 3-3 draw between Milford and Canton. So you've been enjoying this presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.